man. How are you?
I'm chilling, brother. I'm chilling. So hit me. So I want to. I'm probably going to keep this brief just because we have a whole podcast about this tomorrow. That's why I'm getting Hoyoverse creators. But I definitely hit me your perspective.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate, like, I don't think you are bullying people. I meant
For
like
sure.
the community conversation around these things kind of trends toward bullying, and that's maybe not the best word to use, but that's the word I used.
I get what you're saying. No, I understand though because it becomes a situation. Look, it doesn't become a nuanced conversation. I feel like that's a very fair thing to say, right? Whether it's like shitting on Hoyo, shitting on Koro, whatever the case may be, a lot of the times it's not nuanced, and so it turns into a larger issue than what it could be. I assume that's kind of like the route you're going down, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like it's definitely more, I would say, it's not you, I think, that is causing issues, and you get jumped on Twitter or whatever, and it's just because people.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Which is whatever. I understand why I get attacked on Twitter. I want to make this very clear. Like I don't have like a victim complex where I'm sad or anything. Like I made a very aggressive tweet. I'm not like, I'm not mad about that or anything, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, and like to me the conversation has been a little bit warped because like as a day one player who is still playing that game and who plays WUA and HSR and Zenless, like
Bros,
I
in
I
there.
play I
You're
play a
in
lot of
there.
they're my time wasting games, but
For sure.
like there are definitely a lot of valid grievances with Genshin in particular because it's the oldest and the most dated in a lot of ways. But I feel like it's a disservice to the conversation to not acknowledge some of the things they do that are pretty good. Like, you know, they were they the first ones with a reroll? No, that was HSR, I guess. But like their reroll, like their artifact rerolling system, that's pretty good. Loadouts suck ass. The new QOL thing where you can see the fourth line on 3-line artifacts, like
Yeah, that's
that's nice.
awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's a great
The
quality of
the
life.
con the constellations thing to me, I just see that as a win because it's something I wasn't getting before. Like in my like player surveys, like I'm constantly putting like I'd like opportunities to get constellations for older characters. They might not be the most meta thing, which is probably why they're giving the constellations to us. Like obviously Kazuha, Yelan are missing from that. The Archons are missing from that. Some Archons are better than others. I would argue you could probably include most of them. But, to me, getting those constellations for older characters is just another way to, bring some life back to them. You might not be using them for Stygian Onslaught difficulty 6, but, you use them in Abyss, you use them in the overworld. Some people just like those characters and they want to build them up.
For sure.
And that's a thing that we weren't getting before at all. And so it feels weird to me as a, old and current player to hear it being called a bad thing when it's not a perfect thing for sure, but it's one of those things that I expect that they'll build on over time, kind of like the shop in HSR, which I think is probably going to be getting some new things added to it soon.
Yeah.
but
No, I see
but
that.
that's all. That's all I really meant was like I feel like the conversation gets warped a little bit sometimes, and there are definitely a lot of valid grievances with the game, but I think that the people that do like it and don't necessarily love being told all the time that the things they like and the things that they're excited to get are bad.
For sure. Yeah. So I mean, I think we could go through it bit by bit. I think overall, you're 100% right in that when we talk about the fact that they're adding a constellation acquisition, that means you need to sit down and actually farm them. You have to put in some work, which I don't see a problem with that. I think that is a positive, right? I want to make that very clear. The problem is, it's like the 500th backhanded positive, where it's like, okay, this game will do something good in one direction, but not really give you the full benefits of what this is supposed to be. So while in theory this could be a really great concept, and overall, is it a net positive for, let's say, a subsection of the community, like 1,000 fucking percent? But at the same time, how much of a net positive is it really? That's like if Wuthering Waves for the anniversary gave me a standard selector, realistically speaking, I would just be picking Verena and that's it. Like, to me, this really seems like the most bare minimum. And the problem because again, I think what you're saying makes perfect sense, and there's 1,000% validity to it, and so that's why I appreciate you for talking to me about it. And also, by the way, just I'm not looking at chat, so chat, be nice, because homie is mad cool. Even though you just followed me today, you piece of shit, with over 1,000 fucking messages, like literally go fuck yourself. But
I'm
the
a tough follow.
fucking crazy. Yeah, you just gotta say I bully people, and then I just bullied you into fucking following me. But the point
Yeah.
is that like when you think about it, and the framing of how they did everything with 6.0, and how always the point oh patch is supposed to be the biggest update, it's supposed to be the biggest quality of life, it's going to be the best things ever, and it's the most mild, tame, and least thing they could fucking do. And maybe you could say I'm greedy, and maybe you could say other people are greedy, but realistically speaking, getting a C1 Ayaka or a fucking C1 Baiji or a C1 Yay, or maybe you're at C2 Yay, right? And you get a C3 or a C4 Adia, like that, the value that is providing is so minuscule. Where characters like Raiden are just an EM bot now. Nahida is just a Dendro applicator, and apparently, I saw a tweet earlier. I don't even think she reapplies Dendro in some certain instances. I didn't even look into it like that. Fucking Zhongli shield isn't really that great because Sitlali exists. Sitlali gives damage and gives shield and could do fucking reactions. Venti is just there for floor 11. It's like, if you're going to do this, the reason why they didn't put these other characters in there is because obviously, like, look, they want to make money, and that's fine. But when we go down this route of, well, we don't want to make money, and it's like, okay, they're out of touch. And so if someone is saying, like, let's say, for example, you watch my content, I say this is dog shit, you're like, well, I like it. I mean, but that's okay, right? Like, you could like it. I don't think there's anything wrong with you playing the game or liking this or having a different perspective. I'm obviously way more jaded to the game for not only my personal experiences, but just how the game is run as a whole. But I also don't think it's like, are there people who farm and are super negative about it? I mean, absolutely 100%, right? But there's genuine criticism even with the Constellation thing. You're looking at it as a half glass full. I'm looking at it as half glass empty, right? And I don't think that one is necessarily evil and the other one's the only way to see it. And I don't even think you
No.
necessarily think that either. Like, I want to make
Yeah.
that clear, right? I don't think you sit there and like, oh my God, you're the devil if you think this. But I feel like a lot of people are taking any little W that they can get or any little positive in this game and thinking it's the greatest thing ever because of how starved they are for normal quality of life, right? So, yes, Constellations, it's a positive. How positive is it really? I mean, like, it's fucking there. Like, it's low key just there. Like, it's really, you know.
I the constellation thing in specific, I guess, is because that's the one that feels like the most what's the word? Divisive maybe.
Okay.
I I would push back a little bit and say, what would you reasonably expect the constellation, like, because no game is going to give you constellations for like brand new characters for free, right?
For sure.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
so is the disconnect there that it's specifically excluding the archons?
The disconnect is it's excluding any type of really meta relevant characters other than Nilu, but Nilu is going to get pretty much low key, most likely shafted. But even let's just say, actually, I don't even want to say that. Let's say Nilu is like the best character out of that list. It's like one meta unit. I think one of the best ways they could have done this is just letting you repeat the constellation. Or straight up, if they would have said, listen, if you don't own Nilu, here's Nilu. I think I wouldn't have had a problem. And I'll
For
even
sure.
take it. I'll take it a step further. I don't think level 100 acquisition not being through materials and whatnot would have been an issue. If I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, if you can get this via 4 stars. I don't know if you watched my video breaking it down, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been fine. There's so many different ways they could have done it, but even then, I'd be like, okay, I'm not mad. Like, it sucks, but I'm not mad about it, right?
The level 100 thing to me is also a bit of a weird situation because, like, to me as a day one player and still playing, like, I just don't care. Like, it doesn't, to me that's
It
not going to
doesn't
be a
tickle
thing that
you.
matters to anybody. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just not going to be a thing that matters to anybody except whales, because they're not going to bounce the game around being level 100. It's just going to make speedruns faster. And the constellation slash selector thing, like, it would be super cool if, like, instead of a constellation, like instead of just a constellation, you could just pick that character if you don't have them yet, because that's the only way I'm ever gonna end up with albedo.
Yeah,
But
bro's
like,
ass.
but you know, I also, I guess, I think I and probably a lot of other players are coming at it or looking at that through the lens of like what's reasonable to expect, and like it's probably reasonable to expect that they didn't like exclude archons or Kazuha, whose constellations I think are like dubiously useful in the first place, and Yelons, who's are pretty good. But um, like to me, I look at it through the lens of like this is maybe not perfect, but it is, you know, something no other game is doing, and is a thing that they said they intend to expand over time. So, you know, I look at that as a pretty good win, not like a little crumb win. And the level 100 thing is like, you know, is it kind of lame that it's through C6s only? Yes. Does it impact the vast majority of people anyway? No, I don't think it does. And,
Okay.
you know, I
Yeah,
just, yeah.
I think so there's a couple things I disagree with, but I just want to for the correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying. I'm gonna stop playing because I got distracted. When with the consolation things, are you saying that you think it is out of the realm of possibility or the realm of expectations to add those other characters?
No, I think like it should have just been like a hard cutoff at like 3.x and not excluding anybody. Like it's
Okay,
super weird
yeah.
that they've excluded Al Hytham in particular because like he's not even. I love playing Al Hytham, but he's not good,
Yeah, yeah.
and his
Also, guys,
constellation
be
sucks.
respectful. Be respectful. This is not like Stockholm syndrome. This is a person. This is why we're doing the podcast tomorrow to get perspective of other people. So please, if you don't agree, that's fine. But guys, he came into chat, had a conversation with me, and he has the balls to get on a fucking call and just have a normal conversation. So even if you don't agree with him, I'm asking you to please just show my man some respect. So continue. I'm listening. I agree with you. Hard code off at 3.0, whatever the case may be. Right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's silly to me that they've excluded Archons and a couple others, but they've also said that they're gonna expand it over time. So like realistically, I don't know. The Stockholm syndrome thing is, you know, that's valid in some cases. I just think I look at it through the lens of like this is a nice first step. Is it perfect? Certainly not. But you know, if they follow through and expand it over time, like it'll be nice over time to be able to get constellations for characters that you know you used to use, you maybe don't anymore. And as time has gone along, constellations have gotten better, and so the value of those free constellations will increase over time. And
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like what you're saying. Oh, did I cut you off? I apologize. Did you finish
no,
or
no,
did
no,
I cut you
sorry.
off? Oh, I think what you're saying, like again, there's some genuine validity to it. The problem to me is that it's always with Hoyoverse at the moment, and this is not like a Woowa better thing because again, I mean you've been watching. I've been shitting on fucking Woowa every day. The game is boring. I'm playing fucking World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? Like I'm not having fun with this game. But um, the thing with Hoyo is like it's always we're gonna do this at a later date. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Here's something half baked. Don't worry. In due time, we'll get something done. Right? You look at Honkai Star Rail, where like the whole thing with Honkai Star was like, hey, we're gonna fix the game in 3.4, and it's like, okay, that's in 6 months from now. But you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And then the story was decent. The collab story was bad, but you could have gave the example. You know what? Maybe the collab was already pre-written back when the game was trash, so it's not a big deal. And then they follow up with a really dog shit story that doesn't have any of those changes like they said before, right? And it's like, to me, it's getting to a point where it's like, at what point is overtime acceptable with this company that is making legitimately billions of dollars? Because yes, there needs to be like reasonable expectations. Some people have really crazy expectations that they're not reasonable, right? Like, oh, I want a Lamborghini, why it now? And it's like, okay, well, you can't get a fucking Lamborghini, dickhead McGee. But at some point, after years and years and years, when these main quality of lives that are given literally in the other Hoyoverse games and are not being provided here, and I see people vehemently defending the lack of these quality of lives, I have to assume it's like, okay, at this point, we're just never going to get anything because people are accepting anything. So a lot of people's contention with these, the consolation is that, okay, in a year, let's say they're going to add characters in a year, right? Because I think this event, it's lasting. Is it
It's
lasting a
12
full
months,
year?
yeah.
It's 12. Okay, so like in a year they might finally add Kazuha and I'll hate them. It's like, why do I need to wait a year for you to add these characters that are good in the present moment that might not be good down the road? Now, I think Kazuha is just going to be good forever, but why do I need to wait a month? Okay, I'll get a Klee-Con, I'll get a Diluc-Con. Like, and the biggest point of contention that a lot of people saying, well, meta doesn't matter. Well, if it doesn't matter, just let me fucking get the same characters 4 times at least. At least if you don't want to include these units and you don't want to be like, oh, whatever. All right, fine. Then let me get a character 4 times because of the fact that I would then be able. No, it gives 4 cons. It gives 4 cons. I would then be able to get closer to a C9, and then the thought process of, oh my god, there was something you said that I'm drawing a blank on it.
What was it about?
I'm trying to remember. Because I'm jumping around a little bit, but I guess I'll go back to it if I remember it. But like you coming at it with a half glass full mentality, I think a lot of players are just frustrated, and I would be frustrated if I played Genshin and then I went to HSR and I see. I mean, you remember like when HSR came out, there was a war between Genshin and HSR because HSR was the golden child for a little bit. Then ZZZ came out, and ZZZ started getting the good quality of lives. They were getting static stat rolls for certain drive discs. I believe they got a resin bank first. They had a skip button. They're continuously giving you the minuscule amount just to get a devs listen moment out of the community, and then they're like, we'll come back to this in a year. And it's like, why do I have to wait a year for something that like should have just been given directly then? Right? Does that make sense?
It does. I think maybe part of what I find a little weird, maybe weird's the wrong word. Part of my perspective is that I don't even look at these, like, I'm not looking at the collection of things as Hoyoverse, because like you just highlighted, like each of their games has a very different approach, maybe is the word, to their quality of life updates in particular. Like I'd say Zenless is probably the best at it right now.
Yeah.
And HSR, you win some, you lose some, and Genshin, I think is leaving a lot of people wanting. And so I look at it as like the Genshin team is doing this in this way and not necessarily Hoyoverse is doing this in this way, because I think their approaches between games is so different. And the skip button's a big one that people are constantly asking for, right? And I still kind of think that it will come at some point, but I don't know, and I'm not holding out hope for it. But this is the Constellation thing is the first thing that any of those 3 games has done in this way, and so I'm willing to accept that it is not a perfect implementation right off the rip, because HSR was the first one to get re-rolling right, and Zenless still doesn't have it. But I would argue that Genshin Impact's re-roll, like artifact re-rolling, is better than HSR's because it came second.
Well, is there anything fundamentally different about it? Genuine question. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a dickhead.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe the HSR one is better now because they've swapped the dice out with the other thing. But the way HSR's did work, it was just a straight up reroll, and you could pick 2 stats that you. Well, actually, you can't even. Yeah, you pick 2 stats that you hope you hit, and if you hit them, then whatever. But the Genshin rerolling, it has that meter that fills up every time you reroll, and after I think 3 or 4 times, you get an extra hit on the stats that you're trying to hit, and then it stacks up again, and then you get another extra hit on the stats you're trying to hit. So as you reroll it more, you're slowly guaranteed to get a better quality artifact if you don't already have one that you like by the time you hit that point, which I think is a slightly better system.
Isn't it something kind of again, please correct me if I'm wrong, where it's paywalled? I think you can only do 1 reroll per, like, how many rerolls is it going to take you to activate that do we know, or we have no idea? We don't know.
I think it's 6 points, and it's 1 feather per point, and goblets, timepieces, and masks all take 2 feathers to reroll once, so it's 3 rerolls per per those 3, and 6 rerolls per feather or flower, and you get, I think, 4 or 5 feathers a pat, 4 I think for free, and then 1 from the paid battle pass, and 1 from the 5th difficulty of Stygian Onslaught, which some people might not be able to get.
I see.
So
Okay.
a total of 6 feathers if you're paying and good, I guess. 4 if you're not.
I think it's
So yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. It's definitely a little expensive. It kind of sounds like you're gonna take a while. But I mean, if the reroll is good, like sure, I guess to me, because like, yeah, continue. No, I want you to speak before I speak.
I just I think, you know, it's totally a valid criticism to say, why isn't this perfect from the start? You know, with regards to the Constellation stuff, and you know, why don't we have a skip button yet? Like, that's totally a valid criticism. But I just look at it as like, this is a, you know, if next year, when assumedly they'll do it on anniversaries, they expand the roster of free constellations and it includes almost all of the Fontaine characters, like, would that be an improvement to you, or would it still be shit?
I mean, it would be absolutely an improvement, especially if they included like Yalan, Nahida, and stuff. But we'd also have to see the state of the game at that point, right? Like in this current state of the game, especially with these new reactions coming out, and there's a rumor, I don't know how true this is, that like, you know, the next Stygian Onslaught's going to require 2 lunar reactions. It's not really this the 6.1 Stygian Onslaught. Let me specify. Uh, this is not really. It doesn't seem like it's really the big help that people are trying to make it seem. You know what I mean? And I think the thing that you said that I just don't necessarily agree with is like, you look at it as like it's the Genshin team as opposed to Hoyoverse. Even that is like kind of quote unquote operating differently. It's not providing these quality of lives. And then my question would just be like, well, why? Right? Like it's the most profitable. It's probably the one that has the most replayability, the most users. And it's like they're willing to include level 100 that is going to provide. Also, fact, what's good, baby? I love you, brother. It's been a minute. I hope you're doing amazing. My bad. I'm going to call it a homie, but I appreciate you. Level 100 is going to be accessible mainly for whales. Now, I do think it is going to affect a lot of players, but I can talk about that in a moment, especially with FOMO. But why? Like they could put that in the game, but they can't put the talents completely unweekly locked for the whole month. They can't give the skip button. They can't give the resin cap. It's like they're clearly trying to heavily monetize the game. And my whole thing from the beginning is, listen, if you like Genshin Impact, that's fine. And even if you kind of like some of these quality of life, that's okay. I'm just tired of people trying to villainize and validate anyone who speaks out against it. That's the problem to me. So like, for example, you have your perspective. I will not sit here and tell you your perspective is wrong. I don't agree with a lot of it, but that doesn't mean like I think you're a piece of shit or I'm going to fucking shit on you or some shit. But I
I expect
also,
to be banned when this call is
yeah,
over.
fuck you. I'm blocking you and leaking your social security number. That's a joke, by the way,
Ooh.
legally. Um, but you know, I'm looking at it because I mean, and it's the truth. I mean, they're making fun of it in their video that they want to just make money. Like, why didn't they include these characters? Well, it's simple. They didn't want to make money, and they know that they can get away with the bare minimum with their game. You know, that's why they're excluding characters in these constellations. You cannot get multiple of these certain characters. It's because it's the bare minimum. People are going to eat it the fuck up. Um, I think it's pretty straightforward, right? You could enjoy it and that's fine, but I don't think it's like this situation where it's like, you know, I'm the devil because I'm like, hey guys, like, you know, there's so many tweets like, oh, you know, like you shit on it the second something positive happens. Like, how positive is this? Like, it's like, what is the impact this is providing to the player base, right? The level 100, let's just say in a perfect world, the meta doesn't change. I don't give a fuck about the meta. We are now gatekeeping normal level progression to whales getting C9 and Constellation. Like, once you get Constellation 6, you're not even getting anything else from these characters. You're just getting more for to get a level up. And it's like, how is this fair? Like, they didn't want to include adventure rank into the game because whales and people who've been playing from day one would feel dirty if they've been playing every day for 2 years and all of a sudden the adventure rank is up and now they can't include it. But now they're willing to include this. because it's tied to monetization. It just feels stinky. Like UGC looks amazing. I think you and me could both say UGC looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about UGC, and the only way I could genuinely see UGC being bad is if UGC is tied to monetization that increases stats, which I doubt that's going to happen. But
So
yeah, you go. Go
I
ahead, listen.
I I'm actually not that in like I think it looks cool, but I have very little
Oh,
interest
okay.
in playing it. I do find that it's really weird that it's a Genshin UGC and we didn't see a single like playable Genshin character in any of the UGC stuff. Like that feels weird to me.
Oh, I mean, I could tell you why. Like, and I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, I could tell you why that is. You're creating your own character, and they're going to
Mm,
sell you cosmetics to create your own character.
mm,
You
mhm.
know that it's I but like I don't care about that. Like if they're gonna monetize it through cosmetics, who the fuck cares? Like as long
Yeah.
as you're not buying power and shit, I'm cool with it. But I do think you're onto something where UGC is not Genshin. The biggest thing I've seen is Constellations and UGC is coming, so why are you upset? To me, UGC does not right the million wrongs that's with the game currently that
No,
people
that's
are
a
asking for.
yeah, that's a totally separate entity to me.
Yeah,
And I like I said, like I totally respect your opinion, and I again, I didn't mean to imply that you were
no, you're
bullying
good, man.
people.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Um, to me, it's like I'm also I think a lot less jaded by the game and the company,
For
for
sure.
I'm sure justifiable reasons for you. But to me, like I look at this game and it's like 2.5 years older than the next closest game, which is HSR, and I just, I see them take, you know, admittedly small steps towards some of the things people are asking for. Like there still is no resin bank. That's annoying. They are increasing the amount of resin that condensed resin stores. So
I think it goes
that's
up to
like
like 300 in total resin.
yeah, it's like an
Yeah, which
increase of
is
40 overall. But it's like, to me, that feels like a step toward trying to address the resin bank feedback, even if it's not a good step. And, you know, the talents being day locked is irritating. They have an event at the start of 6.0 that is removing the day lock so you can farm whatever you want whenever you want.
yeah.
And that to me feels like a test for removing it permanently. Like if people like that and they see it doesn't affect their engagement numbers or whatever, they might just roll that into a permanent quality of life update in a few patches. And the age of the game combined with, from my perspective, seeing these incremental steps toward things people want just makes me think that it the age of the game makes it much harder for them to do some of the things people want to do. Maybe even the skip button, who knows? Uh, and I don't necessarily look at it as like they're not doing it because they want more money from that. Because like, who is realistically spending money on resin every day because they can't log in? Like who?
A lot of people, like a lot of whales, do
Well,
that to be trans because they do it in
whales are
Lua
going to do it
too.
anyway, though.
Sure, but I think like when like for example, like you're saying like obviously you're not as jaded and that's fine, right? I don't want you to be jaded. I think you should enjoy whatever. But we're 5 years in and they have billions of dollars. Let's just say there's quote unquote engine limitations, which I mean, I don't believe that, but let's just say that's a problem. But it's not. But let's just go with that. When is it timely acceptable to get these quality of lives? Why do we have to test? Because they were already testing talents before, right? New players or returning players is one or the other. It might have been both. I don't remember which one. Were able to get talents, mass talents unlocked for any day of the week for X amount of time. Like so, that was already been in the game since some port of Natlin at least. At what time frame do you think it's acceptable to be like, okay, now I'm tired? Like from your perspective, because I think 5 years is way more than enough time. But like you're giving them a lot of benefit of the doubt, which is fine. Again, I'm not gonna shit on you for that. I don't care. Like it's 100% okay. But when do you be like? Because it feels like they keep drip feeding, but then they never get back to it, and then the drip feeding is stupid, right? Like look at the time skip button they just gave in, right? Like they say it's a time skip button. It's like what the fuck? Like what are you doing? But like when do you think it's enough? Because again, like talents is a perfect example of something they've been drip feeding to people for a long time already. It's like at what point do we say, hey, we're not going to do this? They dropped a survey 6 months ago, 7 months ago, And they didn't even fucking stick to the changes that were in that survey. You know, there's no way. I would bet $500 million. There's no way a motherfucker sat in that survey, or a majority of the responses were, yeah, you know what? I'd really love it if you just kept them unlocked for a week, right? So when do you think it's like, okay, now the outrage or uproar is acceptable? Like, when do you feel like that would be a good time?
To be super honest with you, I don't know.
Okay,
Like,
which is fair. Which is
I,
fair. That's fine. Fine.
I, like, the obvious answer to me is if they ever took a step backwards. Like, the talent thing to me, it's weird. Like, I'm not representative, I don't think, of like the super casual player because
Okay.
I buy the battle pass, and
Whale.
so yeah,
Hooked.
definitely not a whale. But I buy the battle pass, right, and that gives you tons of talent materials. So like to me, I recognize
What?
that the like there's just no reason for them to be locked to 2 days a week. Like it's just weird. But at the same time, like it has never presented a like an actual roadblock to me because one day I farm talents and the next day if I'm working on a new character or whatever and I didn't pre-farm, then on the days where I can't farm the talent materials, I go kill the boss for the ascendant material. And it's stupid to me that they're day locked, but I don't know at what point the talent thing specifically would make me go enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I think the skip button, like yes, everybody would love a skip button. I would love a skip button. I also like it's just one of those things where like I guess I'm gonna feed into chat here, but like I've been conditioned to like I've been conditioned to just mash through the stuff I don't care about listening to, right? And so I don't know at what point enough would be enough for me to say, all right, I'm dropping this game because there's no skip button. If all the voices went away, like, and I just had to read everything,
I
that
mean, we
would
had
be
that though. We had that
yeah,
technically.
yeah.
You know,
Which
we
is why
had.
everybody was so pissed at voice actors, right? Like,
Yeah, we had that for a long time. I continue. Yeah. Before I speak, I want to let you finish your thought.
well, I think my thought is I just don't know what the breaking point for. I don't want to say a player like me because everybody's different, but
Yeah.
for me, I don't know what the like. I keep seeing like incremental steps toward things I would like, and so you know that's enough for me and my current like time investment and the sunk cost fallacy to keep me playing the game.
Okay.
Like
For sure.
they have not done anything that offends me.
Okay.
And
And so that's exactly where I think you differ from a lot of people, including myself. Right? Because I feel like if you look at the game from the start till now, I think there's a lot of offensive things. And I think one of the reasons, like someone like myself, wasn't offended for a long time is because there wasn't a competitor that existed. Right? Like if like from the beginning of time, some sort of mode of exploration was locked towards characters. But nobody batted an eye, right? I bought Kazuha, obviously because he was goat. I was like, oh dude, I could just F. I can get Venti and I could do this. I could get Yelan and then I can get C2 Yelan or C1, whatever it was. I can get 2 dashes, right? And I mean, there was a term before Natlin called exploration teams. Because of the fact that the exploration was so limited movement, that it was you had to buy certain characters. We didn't have to. Let me rephrase that for someone cries. Quote unquote, you had to buy like Shan Yun, the jumping and shit, right? But you then get a Wuthering Waves, and this is where a lot of I think the discourse started for a lot of people, including myself. I was already frustrated with the game. Wall runnings's free, clamber's free, sprint is free, Kanich's ability's free, and you see that it's in one game. This is a premium feature that costs $300. In another game, it's completely free. On top of the fact that Natlin, I mean, listen, I think Natlin objectively might be the best looking region, at least in my mind, but it's not the Nation of War, sure, whatever. But on top of all of the massive power creep, the massive meta changes, all these different things that have accrued, and the lack of genuine quality of life even over those times, even back to Star Rail before Woowa came out, because Woowa's launch was fucking atrocious. It was atrocious, but there was still things. Yo, Connor, thank you for the raid. I appreciate you, brother. Welcome in, homie. I appreciate you. There was still a lot of things that I'm like, okay, like holy fuck, like this company, they're just legitimately neglecting Genshin. Whether it's Star Rail, like you said, ZZZ, Wuthering Waves, every other fucking game has it. So I think the frustration is built up over so many different things that have been neglected, that it's not just like let's necessarily a talent material thing or the level 100. It's so many things, and everyone always says, "Wait till the point oh, wait till point oh, wait till point oh," and in point oh we got Nodcry. You got some good quality of life, like the 4-liner artifact is dope, right? The artifact rerolling is super fucking expensive, like super duper fucking expensive. It seems like a good system for what you've explained to me, but it seems really fucking expensive. And all these other different things. Oh, what up, Roach? What up, baby? It's like, that's where the disconnect is. That's where a lot of people look at it differently. If you are playing a lot, or if you're getting certain characters and you're strategically pulling, or you're up to date with leaks and stuff and you're super informed, like, you're probably not going to really care, especially if you really love the game. But it's like at some point, motherfuckers, including myself, are just like, holy shit, this game, it's not doing it. Like, everyone wanted more combat, and then they included Imaginarium Theater. Imaginarium Theater's process, and maybe you could feel differently from me, the whole thought process is, okay, we're going to take any fucking random elements that don't always necessarily align with each other, and you need to have a surplus of characters that are at least level 70, somewhat built, and it's going to change every single month. And that's a quote unquote, oh, it's supposed to make you build other characters. No, that's fucking bullshit. You have to pull characters. I can't build a character if I don't have them. Why am I pulling for, like, I don't know, maybe it's like an Ito and Fontaine where I know, hey, he's really, really not that good. Why the fuck would I pull him? But now I got to pull X, Y, and Z, and I'm getting a game mode where there's no genuine synergy with these units, because the game is very big on rotations, very big on, applying elements. So it's like, this game mode doesn't even feel like Genshin. To me, it's like, it just feels like you want me to waste my resources, build characters, and then buy new fucking units. And then by the time I'm done building, let's say 28 characters, I think the new one is 28 to 32 units. By the time I'm done building 20 characters, the next rotation happened and 7 of those characters are no longer applicable, and so I'm fucked, right? And that's just like, again, another little, oh, this is combat, but there's an asterisk. The Talons, all these other things, the Natlin fucking expiration being locked, bro, like all these things. It's like, all right, man, like fucking, when are we gonna sit down and really be like, have a conversation of when are they gonna fucking lock in and feel like they're gonna do something positively to affect the full player base? And maybe you could say, oh, the Constellation might, be positive for some players, sure, but realistically, it's not that much of a positive. Like, it's fucking not. If they were to include every character before 4.0, I wouldn't say a word. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's awesome, right? Or if they were to include the Archons and the Yelan and Kazuha, cool. If level 100 was done with 4 stars or materials or something, sure, I wouldn't fucking bat an eye. But like, everyone's pretending that it's the fucking greatest thing of sliced bread, and it's fine if you feel that way. Or like, I'm gonna try it on Tuesday. My girlfriend's gonna play it. Some people in my chat play it. Like, some of my boys play it. But to pretend, and I'm not saying you're doing this necessarily. I understand you came in, you said bullying. You didn't mean that. It's fine, right? I got no beef with you. I really don't have beef with anyone. I think having beef over a game is fucking stupid. But it's like, when are we gonna sit here and be like, okay, 5 years now, and shit, and like, they hyped up Nodcry to all fucking belief, and maybe the region itself might be good, but it's just the same Genshin. Like, yeah, you go.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go. I'm done. Yeah.
I think that's I think that itself is a key point. Maybe, I'm not sure that's the right word, but I think it's at the crux of the issue. There is, there are people who like the game, and there are people who want to like the game, right? And I think you may fall into the camp right now where you want to like the game, because who wants to hate a game, right? Like,
yeah,
you played it for a long time, you had, or maybe didn't, have fun with it for a while, and you hit your breaking point, which is, everybody's got their own breaking point, and that's totally valid. But I think at this point, it, Genshin Impact is what it is, and the changes they're making, like the quality of life that they introduce, like, those are all in the vein of the game being what it is. And I don't think there is much they can do, honestly, without completely without just completely changing the game in a way that they never will because they don't want to pull players like you back in permanently. Like, and I think it borders on unreasonable almost to expect them to do that at this point because they've shown time and again that they won't. And so I think a lot of people are setting themselves up for disappointment by expecting them to change every patch.
Oh, I believe the hype.
And,
I fell into the hype, but that was my fault. Absolutely.
and no, and you know, I don't know, maybe Nodcry will be cool enough to pull people like you back in long term. I kind of doubt it personally. Like I think it's going to be a cool region, and I think it, you know, for players who are still playing the game and enjoying the game, I think it's going to be a great region. But I think a person like you, and you know, probably a lot of chat and you know, other content creators who have played the game in the past and are just kind of sick of it. I don't know at this point that expecting or hoping that the game does something or changes in a way that will pull you back in is fair to you, to yourself.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I genuinely believe there's some validity to that, but I feel like, not to try to nitpick, I don't think it's that they can, it's that they won't. Right?
Right.
Like,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, definitely that they won't. Like, you know, I don't enjoy Fortnite, and me checking every, you know, major Fortnite version patch note to see if I'm gonna like it again. Like that's a waste of my own time because Fortnite is what it is and it's not gonna change.
So
Right.
yeah, for sure. Okay. That's like a deeper conversation that we can get into real quick. I feel like when you say that, right? Well, the reason why people have expectations of it changing is because A, that's what they're promoting. Like, they're, everyone, including the devs, are hyping up the .0 patches, and B, you're like physically seeing them do these changes in their other games. It's not that they're incapable of doing it, right? Now you could say maybe it's a quote unquote waste of my time because, you know, I'm expecting something and it's not coming. Listen, at this point, I understand. I think Nodcry was the perfect tell for anyone who is watching the game. This is the perfect tell of how Genshin Impact will be till the end of time. I thought Natlin was going to fix a lot of issues. To me, it created way more. Nodcry was supposed to be that big. They kind of like weren't even planning for Nodcry. I was like, oh my god, we have to scatter together. We have to figure out what the deal is. Holy fuck. Let's address all of these issues. That's how to me it was presented, and they didn't do that, right? But now the reason why that expectation is there is because of the fact that they have done it with these other games, and also, I'm just going to be honest with you. I love WoW, right? I think WoW was a great game. This game's fucking boring. Past two patches, I've been playing fucking World of Warcraft. The game is whack, and I'm very critical of Wuthering Waves. The reason why I'm critical of the no combat is because it's literally been in the game. It was physically there, and then they just stripped it away. Maybe they're waiting for something for 3.0. I don't know. I'm tired of waiting for a .0 patch. It's fucking boring. I'm not having fun with the game at the moment, outside of the story. But it's like, they've done it. Just fucking put it back in the game, right? We've seen this time and time again. And Wuwa, I love Wuwa, can't fucking carry the gotcha space. The better Genshin Impact is, the better the space is. The better Honkai Star Rail is. Do you know Kekvin? He's a mainly HSR creator. Or no?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of his videos.
He's a cool dude, right? Cool dude. He made a video. He was talking about how, like, his burnout for HSR, which is completely fair. And one of the things he brought up, which I think makes perfect sense, and I say this all the time, but, you know, I'm Genshin Hitler apparently, so, you know, nobody wants to fucking listen to me. It's like, he wants HSR to do better than anyone else. Why? Because that's his fucking job, right? You know, his income relies on it, his life relies on HSR. People want HSR. They want the games to be better, so the space is better. So we don't get dog shit fucking slop. And I feel like when we get into the mindset of, well, it just will never change, or, I mean, at this point, I don't think it ever will, realistically. So to be honest with you, I'm going to poke fun at the game. I'm going to make fun of it. I do love the game. I actually do enjoy it, and that's why I'm frustrated. But I'll get to that in a moment. I don't enjoy the state it's in now, but I do overall think it has really a lot of potential. You know, it's just a net negative. Like, when all these big Hoyoverse games are fucking down, they go in, they're good for 6 months, maybe a fucking year. They milk their audience for everything they can, and then they move on to the next fucking game. This is now the slot that we're most likely going to get from other different companies as well. And the Hoyo audience will not just be like, Yeah, man, I just wish we didn't have that. And that to me is the craziest part about it. That's why I say I will never understand why the audience cannot just fucking sit down and be like, I love this game with my fucking heart and soul. My name is Daily Kaching on Twitter or whatever the fucking case may be, but I don't like this and I think we should all change it. I've never fucking seen I've seen it happen with Woo-Woo. Woo-Woo really came together about Weewa and a bunch of other things in the game. I've never fucking seen Genshin Impact do that. Even HSR did it a little bit, right? 3.0 was so fucking abysmal. So many people, including myself, were shit talking just how bad the story is, the dialogue load, and everything. They were forced to change. They had to address it. Now, the change was not really suffice, and it came 6 months later, and then they went back to their old fucking ways because they made $200 million in 2 months. But at least they had to fucking address it. Genshin Impact has never been put in that position where they need to fucking address it because everyone just sucks the dick of it, and they're like, oh, if you speak out, it's drama farming. And that is where the frustration comes from. It's like, dude, they absolutely can change the game. They have every facet of changing it. It's not a limitation of the hardware. It's not. It's not. It's a. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just because they don't want to. Like, fucking go back to the drama of the 2 polls for the lunar year. Motherfuckers like, oh, 2 polls. That's the greatest thing ever. What? That was 2 polls for fucking Chinese New Year, like you or the anniversary event. Like, you fucking kidding me? And it's like, it's just cooked. Like, I just think it's fucking cooked. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the perspective, and maybe this is why you get lit up on Twitter a little bit. Not to say that you're wrong.
No, for sure. Yeah,
But
I mean,
I think the perspective of content creators, you know, where some of their livelihoods do depend on these games, and the perspective of people just playing them, I think there's a disconnect there because when people who are just playing these games get sick of what they're doing, they just stop playing them. And some content creators don't have that luxury, right? Like, it's not easy to pivot to a new game for you
for
or for
sure.
anybody else.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that's also a bit of a perspective shift. And, you know, not to dive back into it, but like as an example of things getting better over time in the game, I would point to that anniversary shit show, the first one, and look at what they're doing for anniversaries now, right? Like that first anniversary was like 2 pulls, and they bumped it up to 10 or whatever it was through the mail, and now they're giving out, you know, a standard 5-star selector and constellations over the course of a year. Like, that's a big. It took a
Well,
long time, but that's a big shift, right?
to be fair, I don't think the 5-star standard selector is an anniversary reward, but the constellation selector is not an anniversary reward. And I'm not trying to be a dickhead when I say that. I think we need to really separate the two.
No,
Uh,
that's fair. It's
but
like it's coming with the anniversary, but it is not an
it's
anniversary
like not an
thing.
anniversary reward. But I at what point is like a standard fucking banner selector? Like, what is that doing though? Like,
Yep.
again, like if Woowa gave a standard banner selector tomorrow, like I don't fucking care. And Woowa's been out for less time. Like I just
They
I feel like,
didn't though.
well, I mean they didn't, but like, okay, from year one to give two
That was its
polls
own shit show.
for sure, but it took them 4 years to do that. Right, because I think they started it with Natlan. I believe in Natlan you were able to choose, like, this is, I believe, the second year. Now you could choose Mizuki.
Yeah.
4 years fucking later, it's like, okay, now you're 100% right. Sometimes content creators absolutely rely on these things. That's why I try to diversify, and I'm not just doing gacha, and I'm gonna break out of the gacha space because gacha in itself is it's a crazy niche, right? But yeah, I understand your perspective. I don't necessarily agree with all of it. I do think you are coming from the more casual, want to give the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, maybe, I don't know if you don't have maybe not as much stakes in it or whatever. But even if like I look at a game like Destiny 2, I have no stakes in that video game and I just fucking quit, right? Like I quit because I was like, they're stealing my money. They're legitimately stealing content. Like for Destiny 2, I think I paid like $700 worth of content. Do you play Destiny or no?
I unfortunately do. I
Oh, bro,
still do.
so you know, like they fucking sunset 90% of the content, and they're doing it again.
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
you know what I mean. Like that to me is a perfect example of like, and the community's been very vocal about it. Now, granted, Bungie's just fucking dog shit. But that's like, no, I'm not making content on it anymore. I have no ties to it. I'm just like, oh my god, like I'm not being respected here. I'm gonna move on. And it's just, to me, yes. Could you say that I could do that with Genshin? Sure, why not? But Genshin affects the whole fucking space, and it's like, $21 billion off of mobile alone in 4 years is just fucking crazy. Like, it's just insane. And so when I see everyone just downplay it, I'm like there's just no common sense left anymore. Like, that's how I honestly feel. And I'm not saying you don't have common sense. You're very charitable to the company. I really don't know why. I guess I could ask you that. Like, I don't like what makes you charitable to, is it like and I'm not trying to say this disrespectfully, is it sunk cost fallacy? Like, what makes you look at this, a combination of any of the improvements? Because I think to you, you look at it as like, oh, this is at least an improvement, so I'm cool with it. But a lot of people, including myself, are like, this is fucking dog shit. This is not a real improvement, because a lot of them aren't. So like, what makes you kind of more on the charitable side to the game?
Uh, so I would say I am charitable to the game, not the company, because
Okay.
I have no investment in Hoyoverse. I don't think, I think the like at a baseline, gotcha games are predatory, and so
Of course, of course.
I am not charitable to a company that partakes in predatory practices. But the game itself, I think I'm charitable to, because I still like the base game. Like, I like what the game is. I wish it was better, but because it's not getting worse for me, and it feels like it is very slowly, improving over time, probably not at the speed most people want. But for me, because I like the base game, like, as long as that base game experience doesn't get worse, like, that's enough for me to keep playing the game, because I like the base game. And Destiny is a good um, opposite to that, because like that game actively is getting worse. Like, the grind up to max power is getting worse. The stuff getting vaulted every season is worse.
Yeah.
The 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 vaults, like the vault space situation, is
It's
getting worse. Like, that
disgusting. Yeah,
game
it's
is
bad.
degrading, right? And so that's a situation where I'm not charitable to the game anymore. But because Genshin isn't getting worse like that every time I play it, you know, I like I like what it is, and so what it is enough for me to keep playing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, I guess to me, I'm not going to, I don't want to take up most of your time for the day, and I appreciate you
No,
getting on
it's
the
okay.
call. I guess one of the things that with that, by the way, I don't know what the fuck that guy was on about. We're not doing that shit. I fucking banned him for a day.
So I
Um,
didn't see chat.
yeah, no, don't even worry about it. I got
I'm
you.
sure someone was calling me really handsome.
I mean, you're not a bad looking guy, brother. You're actually pretty cute. Um, Giggle. I do think though the base game has gotten worse in my eyes. And I look at Natlin, I look at the way the characters work, the Night Soul points not going to anywhere. Like, again, this is something where I've said this from day one, right? If Night Soul points were a consumable that you could use in other areas, and I could fucking swing around on my Mualani, whether it costs Mora, it can cost resin, I don't give a fuck. I'd be like, okay, I don't think this is as big of a deal, right? But to me, them not including it in other ways is kind of like, all right, it feels like a fucking, it feels like an episode of Mean Girls. It's like, this is the cool kids table, and if we go anywhere else, it's gonna feel like fucking shit. But then they completely butcher the fucking, like, the power creep is insane. I used to say Genshin Impact almost didn't have power creep, because it almost really didn't, right? Like, the power creep is great for a really long period of time. I think that'd be a really great statement to make. And then Natlin came out, you get fucking bosses where if you don't want to use the free character, I don't remember her name, the free 4-star, if you don't want to use her, you have to jump on a rock. And you have to find the position of the rock, right? Certain enemies with the Night Soul points, like the Papilia, whatever the fuck the one is, where like you need to fucking break the shield. And obviously with Night Soul points, it's a lot easier. But if you don't break the shield in time, it's a one shot, right? The game, to me, gameplay wise, has gotten to a point where I don't really enjoy it as much. Now, I will say this: the local legends are amazing. Other than the fucking turtle that was in Stygian Onslaught, of course they added that one there. The local legends that I played, I can't speak about anything past 5.1. I think. When I look at, for example, Wuwa has a parry system, it has a dodge system. I'm not saying that Genshin needs to copy that, right? But people say, oh, well, it's impossible for them to implement it in the game. You do a local legend, you have to do a perfect dodge and you kill it. You do a perfect dodge, you get increased attack. There's a parry. There's bosses with real legitimate mechanics that are not tied to Natlan points. And sometimes they're not even tied to elements, right? There's a boss where you get fucking teleported into an area and then you need to kill a bunch of ads, and the more ads you kill, the more life you take away from yourself, but the buffer you are, like, they are 1,000,000% capable of creating really great boss designs that don't have to cater to both Natlan slash elements, right? But they do that, and they throw it in the abyss, or they'll throw it in Stygian Onslaught. They're not going to throw the boss that you have to fucking perfect parry or you have to perfect dodge, right? And those gameplay elements exist. Like, a lot of people say they can't do something and then they'll physically do it. Like, they'll physically put it in the game and people will ignore it. So those gameplay elements I absolutely fucking loved and adored. I praised the fuck out of them when they came out because they deserve the praise. But to me, the base game has gotten worse, right? Like, the ceiling with Mavic is fucking crazy. Skirk mainly needing cryo is fucking, to me, is ass, right? Like, I assume a Skirk melt team is going to do pretty much no fucking damage. We are going to have different things with lunar reactions, right? Why is this tied to characters in 5 stars, but it's not tied to an artifact set? We look at the new 4-star that we're getting. This new 4-star cannot enable new lunar reactions. At least in Natlan, you had Kachina where she could activate the scroll set. Well, this new
He is
4-star
actually a
can't do
pretty good
that.
hydro player, though.
She might be a good hydro applicator, but like, if we're not getting a free Natlan character, or excuse me, a free Notcry character, oh, I mean, like, what the fuck? Like, I just don't like. To me, the gameplay has gone downhill because it's not about that, right? You know, it's I'm talking about the chat here, trying to be the other guy. Oh, I mean, if people are doing that, please stop doing that. I did ban someone for that, right? But yeah, everyone be nice to my man. But that's how I feel. Like, I do think the gameplay for me has absolutely gotten worse because, again, I don't know why they don't include those things into something else. Like, why is that not in the Abyss? Why is that not in Stygian Onslaught? No, they decided to put the fucking turtle, and the turtle's like actually the worst fucking one. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, I just don't get it.
I
So
think the cactus is actually worse for a lot of people than the turtle is.
I only fought the cactus in Stygian. To be very transparent with you, I beat that motherfucker's ass with Nouvelette, so I don't know what he does. Right? I can't sit there and lie to you.
You have to electrocharge him to get him to pop out of the
There
thing.
you go. Yeah, that's the one that I did. So I'm just like, to me, I think there's a big change, and some people are accepting of that change. But it just feels like every time I play that game, I'm trying to get nickeled and fucking dimed. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. It's like the gameplay is not about gameplay, and I just don't find it fun. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get your perspective, but to me, I think it's the complete opposite. I found it where they have these cool ideas, but they won't use them properly, and then, all right, now you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's like, oh, okay, all right, I guess.
They've definitely had cool ideas that they then just kind of throw away, which is unfortunate. I'd like to see them do more with the local legends. Like, I think those are pretty cool, even as somebody who doesn't, go back to them over and over. But I don't feel like the game. I I understand why you feel like it's gotten worse. At the same time, I don't think that it's gotten worse because I, as an active player, like, I have Natlin units, and I skipped an EFA, and I'm skipping Flynn's, and I don't know if I'm gonna pull Llama or not yet. But at some point, I'll have a Nodcry character, and that'll satisfy whatever needs I might have for whatever lunar reaction. And so, those things are just those are things being added to my game over time through my own, I don't know what the word is, choice. And
Yeah.
so they don't negatively impact me because over time I acquire them.
Well, I
And
mean, it'll negatively impact you until you get it.
I I haven't felt that yet. Like, I still did this Stygian Onslaught
Yeah.
difficulty 5 without like an Effa or Mualani.
Okay.
Um like, and that varies by player for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
like player account, etc. Right? Yeah, for sure. I get that. Yeah, I just think you really like the game, and I think that's okay. Like, I do.
I don't think I really like it. I think I like it enough to keep playing. And I don't know, to get back to your point earlier, I don't know at what point they could or would do something to make me not like it enough to play anymore. You know,
I mean,
it
but
could be one. It could be a simple thing, or it could be an accumulation of things over time, like it is for a lot of others. But
for sure. Well, I think
yeah,
in that statement alone, though, it does feel like, you know, and again, I'm not saying this in a negative way, like a derogatory way. Like, you could like the game, like that's fine, but it does seem like they kind of have like, you know, they got you, like you're a lifer, right? Like to me, if Wuthering Waves started to go down the Genshin Impact route by next year, I'd quit the fucking game cold turkey. I wouldn't care. I just, me personally, I wouldn't care, right? But it seems like with you, you're kind of just like going with the flow, and there's nothing wrong with going with the flow and enjoying the flow of what Hoyoverse is going to provide you with. I don't make that a million clear. I don't care about that. But to me, it seems like you're kind of just like not really combative about it. It's like, all right, I'll see what happens, and well, it's not necessarily affecting me yet, and at the same time, I'll eventually get it, so I'm not stressing it, and that's fine because if it's a time waster for you, and it's like cool, but I think you could see the other perspective. Like it is a more like it is what it is type of argument, which or not argument, but mentality, which is fair. But I'm sure you could understand the perspective I'm telling you here. But like, yeah, I could see that, right?
yeah, no, I totally get your perspective and perspectives like it. I think going with the flow is probably a good way to put it. You know, like if I logged in at 6.0 and I can't like 9-star floor 12 in the abyss, like at that point I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
But you know,
yeah.
I've not, even when I'm like, I skipped almost all of uh I skipped every character in 3.0 up to Al Haitham, and afterwards I was saving until Risley basically. Like I skipped all the Fontaine characters, and I never felt the impact of not having like the, what the fuck is it called? The Weeza
Oh, the
Numia
well,
shit from
but
Fontaine.
that's a perfect example though because that's when the game wasn't really that crazy. Like I think Fontaine. It was like 4.3 when Navia came out, maybe 4.4. Like that was great, bro. Like that was like the pneumonia, wheezia, whatever the fuck. That shit was a non-factor. Like you could
Yeah.
knock a boss out, or you could just fucking break its shield, right? It was very minuscule, and I think that's fine because I feel you. I was the same way. But then Natlin just fucking tilted that shit to the side and is like, let me milk you for every dollar we have, right?
So I think, you know, one of the things that would make me stop playing the game is if it was like, if I was still using like what's the team? If I was still using Ride and Hypercarry right now,
You're
and
cooked.
I, you know, like I'd be bored of the game, right? Like the the some mechanics are definitely worse than others in terms of pressuring people into doing things they may not want to do, like pull somebody. But you know, the introduction of new mechanics like the fucked up turtle thing, or the cactus, or you know, the cryo automaton thing, like that's borderline to me because you know it's just cryo. It's not like you need Night Soul cryo. But you know,
I think that's
those
a
things,
problem. I sidebar. I do think that boss is horribly designed. I think that's
I
actually a perfect example of like complete dog shit.
so I can kill it with Risley, but I have not tried with Ayaka because I haven't used Ayaka in like 2 years. But it's definitely way easier with Skirk.
Yeah.
Um, and and I don't actually know how much of that is it's easier with Skirk or if it's easier with Escoffier. Like
Probably both,
Esco-
honestly. I was doing it
Escoffier
on
is insane,
Escoffier is
but
insane. I was doing it on my girl's account. She has Shenhe Skirk, and like it's definitely still annoying. But you know, Skirk has pretty consistent cryo attacks where you can like get the shield down for a decent amount of time. But Escoffier just the motherfucker just frozen, like straight up.
yeah, and you know that's another difference in perspective. I think is like I look at a character like Escoffier, and there are two parts to it to me. There's a part there's one part where it's like this character is clearly OP, but there's another part of it where I'm like, I kind of like the direction they took that character because you know what's another melt team, right? Like this is opening up like a freeze archetype where this character specifically just wants Cryo and Hydro, and you know, if you're not invested into Cryo and Hydro characters, maybe you skip her. If you like Cryo and Hydro characters, then and you like freeze teams, then that seems like a character you definitely could and should go after, because that's a big improvement to those kinds of teams. And you know, I, as a Wriothesley lover, you know, I looked at even without knowing what Skirk was going to do, I looked at Escoffier and I was like, oh, that's a sick upgrade for Wriothesley. Let's go get Escoffier. And so, you know, I had been saving for a while because nobody had really jumped out at me, and so I went for Escoffier. But like, you know, I think new mechanics aren't inherently bad. They can be done in a bad way. Like the the phlogiston boss with the pillars, like that's just shitty.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't affect me because I have, you know, there's several ways around it, but it's still just to watch somebody who doesn't normally play the game or who hasn't played the game in a while try and do that boss in the way that they didn't intend it to be done. Like it's just shitty. It doesn't need to be that way. But you know, for the game to make me want to stop playing, like I'd have to get bored of it, which is they stop adding new things that make me want to try new things, or you know, the difficulty just spiked in a way that was ridiculous. Because you know, you called me a pretty casual player, and I think that's fair. But as a casual player, I think I'm still invested enough that I don't think I should be struggling with any mode other than difficulty 6, Stygian Onslaught, and I currently don't. So if that ever changed, like that would be a huge red flag to me.
Wait, you don't
But
struggle with difficulty 6? You're saying? Like
no,
with the
I
super...
do struggle. Difficulty 6 is the only thing I expect to struggle with. Like 5 I can clear, Abyss I can clear, Imaginarium Theater I can currently clear, but I don't know about this new difficulty. Like that might be, I might have to start leveling people up again.
Yeah,
but that's just kind of the point I'm at with the game.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I see that. I don't think that's a problem. I think if you enjoy it, if you like it, etc., that's cool. I appreciate you sharing your perspective. Yeah, I think it boils down to, at the end of the day, you know, you enjoy it more, and you have like a half glass full, and I have a half glass empty, and I think you can easily say it's okay for someone to have it, or understand someone having a half glass full, and I think it's the other way around. Having a half glass empty take is absolutely fair as well, right? So. Yeah,
Definitely.
I get what you're saying. I appreciate the convo, brother. Thank you, man. That was good shit.
No
Good
worries.
Shit. As long as you know that I'm right and you're wrong, it's all good. Like we could.
Yeah, and like I said, I expect to see the band thing pop up as soon as we're done here. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you want me to upload this to YouTube or no?
You can do with this conversation as you would like.
I'm gonna upload. I spoke to #1 Hoyo defender. Nah, but yeah, no, I appreciate it, though. Listen, man. The fact that you could sit down and just get into a call and be a normal human being and have a conversation is awesome, and we need more fucking people like you, whether it's streamers or which we do have a lot of streamers that are like that, to be fair, but like, you know, chatters as well. Like, again, I don't know if you were there the other day. I had something similar where legitimately, this is a perfect convo for tomorrow's podcast. That's why I'm getting mostly Hoyo people. Someone came into my chat. He saw me from Twitter. He was shitting on me instantaneously. He's like, why do you hate the fucking game or whatever? And I'm like, well, I don't. I kind of proved him wrong. He was lurking for like an hour and a half. He's like, oh, you're actually a really cool streamer. I fuck with you. I'm like, dude, you just have to like not listen to every dickhead on Twitter. You know what I mean? But, you know.
Yeah. I feel like the reasonable opposing perspective is often missing from conversations like this, which is why I tried to say something in chat, and then that got kind of mangled. So I thought, if you wanted to talk on Discord, we could just talk on Discord.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no, man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for hanging out. I'm not going to eat up the rest of your Sunday, but